Alright, today we're going to be making a Caltrop tire spike. There's all kind of different terminology, different states they're illegal in, so there's super glue holders, all kind of stuff. But what we want to do is make a jig. Well, I was looking and there was a gentleman making these things and he said use a refrigeration compressor. Well, I got to looking at what he was doing them out of. I'm an actual heat and air guy, and what he's actually making them out of is a accumulator, refrigeration accumulator. And this is the underneath side of it, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Trying to do this one-handed here. It actually has this bolt. It has this bolt on it right here, and I put 2 nuts on it. But what I did was I took a grinder and basically just cut this thing, the bottom of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a jig. We're going to make a jig for this thing. It's going to be pretty cool. All right, now that I'm in here, let me kind of show you what I've come up with. I cut a couple pieces of tubular steel, and the reason being, I'll kind of show you, but I want something to be able to lock into the vise, and this, you know, you can kind of put it down in the jaws, and it don't matter if you're doing it, you can rotate it, switch it, you know, and it'll kind of be good either way. And it, you know, it kind of sets up on it, makes a nice little, you know, we can get underneath it if you need to. Then I have this flange nut right here we're going to put down, and then that will accept the screw here. I put the other one on there, and I'll probably tack it down just to keep it from spinning, but I wanted to do that way it's not getting all wobbly. I have the flange nut. I'm going to weld it down. I've got the 2 pieces of tube steel, and I'm also going to drill a hole up here in the top, that way I can hang it up. And then as this guy's sitting here and you're working on it, you also, you know, you're going to be welding on this thing, so you're going to need to be able to connect your ground. So I'm going to put the ground up here in the corner, and it fits perfectly into my grounding clamp. That way it won't be coming undone as I'm spinning this thing or working on it. I don't have to worry about the ground falling off, and I'm going to have a real good connection. And then let me put this on it, and I'll kind of show you the next step too that I got to do. And once I get this thing cleaned up and kind of put together, I'll bring you back. But say if you're going to make this, you're going to want to make it like so. So if you see, you've got kind of a higher up, so you're going to put a U at 90 degrees. Every 90 degrees you're going to put a U. These two are one of the pair have to be deeper than the other two, and the reason being is you don't want to be trying to hang on to these. The idea is to make it fast. You're putting these in the jig, you drop it down, you hit it with your welder, you weld them up, you can flip it over, get the backside of it, and then at that point it's going to be very hot, and then I'm going to have another little jig on the side of it to where you just stick it in it, and then you can bend it at the proper angles, and then that'll kind of make it done, and you can make a gazillion of them, and every one of them be the exact same, different sizes, or, you know, I guess if you're going to go a lot smaller, maybe do inserts on these or something to, you know, to accept smaller type or bigger tubing or whatever. I'll have to work on that, because you're still going to have to be able to get a weld to it. So it's going to have to be metal, and it's going to have to make connection to this before you can weld it. But you could technically cut out washers or something and have, you know, like an insert on this thing to do all kind of different sizes, and that's something I might look at doing. That would be kind of neat. That way, if you're out in a Minecraft world and you find different material, you know, you can just steadily make it, but it'll let you rotate it, and I think it's going to be kind of cool. Once I get it put together, I'll bring you back and kind of show you what we come up with. I'm just, like I said, it's basic 101 welding and sanding and cleaning at this point. I'll get her put together and bring us back. All right, got my hole all drilled, got everything prepped. Kind of just got everything lightly, all the rust off of it, so it'll weld up real good. Remarked my spot here, and this thing will screw in. But I decided I went ahead and cut a piece that's going to go in here to kind of cover that up. That way I'm not digging screws out or bolts or whatever out of this thing in the future. So I'll tack that thing in, and it fits pretty good. Not bad. Kind of a pain to get out once you get it in there. There we go. And then still got the 2 rails, so I'm going to go weld it up. That's basically it. I still got to get my grinds in the 90-degree positions. Not sure what we're going to be doing first, so I haven't done that part yet, and I don't know if I'm going to make it interchangeable with something else, but let me get started on this. All right, this is what we ended up with. Got your grounding post here. This will spin. Got our little grooves. One's deeper than the 90-degree, deeper, shallower, deeper. And the reason being, if you want to put one in like this, and then like that, and then just weld it up right there. That's pretty much it. But then you can just, lay these in and tack weld it. And then once you tack weld it, you're going to spin it over and hit it again. And then at that point, it's going to be hot. I'll show you later on how to actually make them once we get some made and done. But that's pretty much it. You can do it out of tubing, which will deflate a tire quick, or they make great little hooks, cap holders for your super glue or anything like that. It's 3-legged and stick right up and works beautiful. And that's pretty much it for that guy. And like I said, he swivels around pretty sweet. All right, here we go. See how you got the little groove, slides right over, makes a nice ground. Just take the welder, try to do this off to the side. There you go. I'll make a little jig to do the actual bending, but that's pretty much it. That's how you weld the guys up. So not too bad. All right, we got everything done. Made a couple. This is what they turned out like. Super nice. They land right. They will puncture a tire. A steel belted, no problem. Got the ground clamp here. This guy spins. We kind of made him a little wide, so if you want to do a little bit of different material. We painted him. This was kind of cool. So if you remember, I made the sanding or the stain remover deal for the gun stocks. Well, that thing also works mighty fine for painting. It just hangs up, and we actually took the head off here, and he sat right there, and we were able to go right around and paint him. This guy, able to paint him real good, and I mean, it turned out that's the useful thing about jigs is once you start making them, they're good for other things that instead of just the main purpose you built them. And my grandfather, he's passed away. I'm 55, but he made a ton of jigs, and all his stuff was made out of wood. When he passed away, he was a heck of a woodworker guy. He was an electrical bigwig at back then. Union Carbide was the name of it. He used to travel around checking big motors. I'm talking motors that you could walk in. But he made everything out of wood. He enjoyed woodworking, and I do too. But when he passed away, most of his stuff, nobody wanted it. And at the time, I didn't have a place to put it. I did end up with a lot. I got a bunch of his tools. Still got a bunch of jigs. But him making the jigs is one reason I do this. I'm making mine out of metal. They ain't going nowhere. I'll probably run them through the CNC and engrave them. The date that I did them, I've got everything wrote down. Maybe someday somebody will appreciate it. I'm kind of a weirdo and like the old cool stuff, and people making the hand craftsman ain't got to be perfect. It just has to be useful. And if it's useful, I mean, that's the whole purpose of making something. Like I said, this thing turned out better than I could expect. Just goes together. Got the screw hole in it so I can hang it up. Screw hole in this guy so I can hang him up. You'll see more of all that here in a bit. But this thing, let me get him right. I mean, he lands up. So it's a heck of a spike, and it's got the little grooves in it. So they're pretty ugly. But that's it. I hope y'all enjoyed.